Anya lived in a quiet town called Oakhaven, nestled in the gentle hills of Eldoria. Life in Oakhaven moved at its own pace, guided by seasons and familiar routines. Everyone spoke Eldorian, a language as comfortable and well-worn as an old armchair. English? It was like a distant radio station, occasionally catching snippets of songs or seeing unfamiliar words on signs in blurry photos from faraway places. For most folks in Oakhaven, English was simply not part of their world. But Anya carried a quiet spark of curiosity. She worked in the town library, a peaceful place filled with the scent of aging paper and polished wood. Surrounded by stories in her own language, she sometimes found books with English titles. She'd trace the letters S-T-O-R. Why so different from the Eldorian script? She'd look at the pictures, wondering what tales lay hidden behind those unfamiliar symbols. Her real fascination, the kind that takes root in your heart, began with a postcard. Her cousin, Stefan, had moved to Canada years ago. He sent colorful cards showing snowy mountains and vast lakes. One card showed gleaming skyscrapers under a brilliant blue sky. Stefan wrote mostly in Eldorian, but at the bottom, he added a simple English sentence. Thinking of you. Wish you were here? Anya read those 5 English words over and over. Thinking of you. Wish you. Stefan had translated them, but the idea of those words, the potential sound of them, felt different. It felt expansive, like a password to a secret club she longed to join. Around the same time, in a dusty corner of the library, Anya found a box of old international magazines. One featured an article about an organization called the Global Canopy Alliance. They worked to protect rainforests across the globe. The photos showed diverse groups of people working together in vibrant green jungles, studying exotic plants, talking with local communities. Their faces radiated purpose. Anya, who cherished the small forest near Oakhaven, felt an unexpected powerful connection. Using an old, worn Eldorian English dictionary, she painstakingly translated the article. It mentioned that the Alliance primarily used English to communicate. Suddenly, English wasn't just strange letters or a friendly sign-off. It was the language of connection, the language of that dream. It was the bridge to people working together for something important, something bigger than Oakhaven. It was the language she needed if she ever hoped to be part of that world. A quiet whisper started in her mind. Learn English. Anya, learn English. But the whisper was quickly followed by a wave of doubt. How? Oakhaven had no English classes. No native speakers wandered its streets. The library's internet was slow, sputtering like an old car. It's impossible, she murmured to the silent bookshelves one afternoon. Where would I even begin? It's too big. Fear is a heavy cloak. It wraps around you, whispering all the reasons to stay put, to not even try. Anya felt it acutely. Fear of sounding silly. Fear of not understanding a single word someone might say back. Fear of the sheer mountain of grammar rules and vocabulary. Fear of failure. Yet, the image of those dedicated people in the rainforest, Stefan's simple, hopeful message. These things were stronger than the fear. They were a tiny flame flickering against the wind. She decided to start small, secretly, just for herself, within the safe haven of the library. Her constant companion became the tattered Eldorian English dictionary. She started with the absolute basics. "Hello," she whispered, the sound foreign and tentative on her tongue. "Good morning. Thank you." She wrote them down meticulously in a small notebook, using her Eldorian letters to capture the English sounds as best she could. She found a children's picture book, forgotten in a donation box. The big red ball, simple words, bright pictures, big red ball. She spent hours matching words to images, feeling like she was cracking the code. She'd say the words aloud, softly, when the library was empty. Pronunciation was a hurdle. The English R sound felt thick and clumsy compared to the Eldorian vor ra. The sound in the thank you felt impossibly awkward. She practiced putting her tongue between her teeth as the dictionary described, feeling self-conscious but determined. Sometimes she'd catch her reflection in a window and giggle at the faces she was making. Progress felt incredibly slow, like watching a plant grow millimeter by millimeter. Each new word was a tiny victory, but the vast ocean of unknown words stretched out before her, daunting and immense. "How will I ever discuss deforestation?" she'd sigh, closing the picture book, "if I struggle with big red ball." One evening, feeling particularly low, she spoke to Mrs. Petrova, the kind elderly head librarian who had watched Anya grow up among the bookshelves. "Mrs. Petrova," Anya began, twisting her fingers. I am trying to learn a little English." Mrs. Petrova looked up from her cataloging, her eyes warm behind her spectacles. "Well, wonderful, my dear. What sparked this interest?" Anya explained about the Global Canopy Alliance, her voice a mixture of hopeful enthusiasm and shy embarrassment. "But it feels so hard," she confessed, "like trying to build a house with just a handful of pebbles." Mrs. Petrova smiled, a network of fine lines crinkling around her eyes. "Anya, every great journey starts with a single step. And often, those first steps feel the most uncertain. Don't expect to sprint when you're just learning to stand. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate the small things. Did you learn the word ball today? That's progress. Did you try that tricky, the sound? Excellent effort. The most important thing, dear girl, is that you started. Don't stop." Her gentle encouragement was like water on thirsty ground. Patience, small victories, effort. Keep going. With a flicker of renewed resolve, Anya ventured onto the library's sluggish internet connection. It was a test of patience itself, pages loading slowly, connections dropping. But she persisted. She found websites offering basic English lessons, vocabulary lists, simple grammar explanations. She discovered sites with short audio clips, listening intently, trying to mimic the sounds, the rhythm, the melody of the language. It felt like assembling a massive, complex puzzle in near darkness, finding pieces one by one. One day she stumbled upon an online forum specifically for people learning languages. Her heart pounded. Communicating with strangers in English, it felt terrifying. But Mrs. Petrova's words echoed, "Excellent effort." Taking a deep breath, Anya used an online translator to type a very simple message. "Hello. I am Anya from Eldoria. I learn English. It is hard. Any advice?" She clicked post before she could lose her nerve. She didn't expect a response. Why would anyone reply to her broken translated message? But a few hours later, a notification popped up. Someone named Mark Teacher from England had replied. "Hello Anya." The message read, "Welcome. Learning any language is hard, but English can be fun too. My best advice? Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are proof you are trying, and try to use the English you learn, even if it's just saying hello or thank you online. Keep going. Mark. Mistakes are proof you are trying." That line stuck with Anya. Maybe mistakes weren't failures. Maybe they were just steps on the path. Mark's message, simple and friendly, felt like a hand reaching out across the digital distance. She typed back slowly, carefully, using her dictionary and the translator. "Thank you, Mark Teacher. Your words help. I will try." This small interaction opened a new door. Mark suggested some free websites with interactive exercises and even offered to answer simple questions if she got stuck. He emphasized listening and trying to repeat. He told her about shadowing, listening to a short phrase and saying it immediately afterward, trying to copy the intonation. Anya started incorporating this into her routine. She found short news reports for learners online, listening intently, then pausing and repeating sentences. The weather today is sunny. It sounded stilted, unnatural, but she kept doing it. She started listening to English songs, not just for the melody, but trying to catch words she recognized. Sometimes she'd find the lyrics online and follow along, connecting the written word to the sound. Her notebook filled with new words, grammar rules she barely understood, why so many tenses, and pronunciation guides she drew for herself. Progress was still slow, but it felt less like stumbling in the dark. There was a faint path emerging. One major hurdle remained. Speaking, whispering words alone in the library was one thing. Actually talking to someone felt like staring up at an unclimbable cliff face. The fear of freezing, of saying the wrong thing, of being misunderstood, was intense. Mark, in one of his messages, suggested finding a language exchange partner online. Someone learning Eldorian who could help her with English. The idea terrified Anya. Speak to a real person, live? But the dream of the Global Canopy Alliance persisted. She imagined herself talking to those people in the photos, sharing ideas, understanding them. That future self, the confident Anya speaking English, seemed impossibly distant. But the image pulled her forward. She found a website connecting language learners. After days of hesitation, browse profiles, heart hammering, she sent a very short, simple message to a profile. "Hello, I am Anya from Eldoria. I learn English. You learn Eldorian? Maybe we practice?" A reply came from a young man named Ben in Australia. "Jagday Anya. Yeah, I'm trying to learn Eldorian. It's tough. Happy to practice English with you. My Eldorian is terrible though, fair warning. Their first video call was a disaster, at least in Anya's mind. The connection flickered. Ben spoke quickly, using slang she didn't understand. Fair warning. Anya mostly nodded, her face burning, managing only, yes, okay, and thank you. When she tried to form a sentence, the words tangled in her throat. She felt mortified afterward, convinced she had sounded like an idiot. She almost canceled the next scheduled call. But then she remembered Mark's words. Mistakes are proof you are trying, and Mrs. Petrova, celebrate the small things. She hadn't run away, she had shown up. That was something. She prepared for the next call. She wrote down simple questions. How is the weather in Australia? What did you do today? What is G-Day? The second call was slightly better. Ben laughed kindly when she asked about G-Day and explained it was just an informal hello. He spoke more slowly. Anya managed to ask her prepared questions. Her sentences were broken, her grammar shaky, but she spoke. Ben patiently corrected a few things, praised her effort, and stumbled through his own basic Eldorian phrases, making her feel less alone in her struggle. These weekly calls became a cornerstone of her learning. Each one was nerve-wracking, but each time she spoke a little more, understood a little more. Ben was patient and encouraging. He recommended watching simple cartoons or TV shows in English, first with Eldorian subtitles, then English subtitles, then none at all. Anya started watching a children's show about farm animals. The language was repetitive, the visuals clear. She began picking up phrases. She started watching documentaries about nature, her passion, with English subtitles. It was challenging, but connecting the language to a topic she loved made it more engaging. She discovered online English tutors and decided to invest a small amount of her library savings in a few lessons. She found Mr. Harrison, a retired teacher with a calm voice and twinkling eyes, who specialized in helping beginners build confidence. Her first lesson with Mr. Harrison was terrifying, reminding her of the first call with Ben. But Mr. Harrison was different. He didn't push her. He started with simple conversation, asking about her town, her job, her hobbies. He listened patiently, gently correcting major errors, but focusing more on understanding her meaning. Anya, he said in his calm voice, during their second lesson, the goal right now is not perfection. It's communication. Can I understand you? Yes. Can you understand me? Mostly. That is wonderful. Grammar will improve with practice. Vocabulary will grow, but the most important thing is to open your mouth and try to connect. Don't let the fear of making a mistake silence you. A bumpy sentence that conveys your idea is far better than perfect silence. Mr. Harrison introduced her to the concept of fluency versus accuracy. Fluency, he explained, is about keeping the conversation flowing, even with mistakes. Accuracy is about being grammatically perfect. Both are important eventually, but for now, let's focus on fluency. Just talk. He encouraged her to think in English, even for simple things. When she walked home, she started naming objects silently in her head. Tree, road, house, blue car, dog. He gave her simple speaking tasks. Next time, tell me 3 things you did yesterday. Describe your favorite place in Oakhaven. Slowly, painstakingly, Anya's confidence began to bud. It was fragile, easily shaken, but it was there. She started contributing more in her calls with Ben. She started leaving short, simple comments in English on the language forum. Each small act of speaking felt like strengthening a tiny muscle. One day, a notice appeared on the Global Canopy Alliance website. They were launching a new online volunteer program, helping to translate short articles and social media posts about conservation efforts into different languages. They needed volunteers proficient in various languages, including Eldorian, but who also had a functional level of English for communication within the volunteer team. Anya's heart leaped. This was it, a chance, not the full dream job yet, but a step, a real connection to the organization she admired so much. But the application required a short statement in English explaining her interest and skills, and potentially a brief online interview. Panic threatened to engulf her. An interview? In English? Her progress felt suddenly insignificant. All the mistakes she still made, the words she didn't know, the times her pronunciation failed her, they crowded her mind. She talked to Mr. Harrison. "I can't do it," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "My English is not good enough. They will know immediately I am not fluent." Mr. Harrison listened patiently. "Anya," he said softly, "what is the purpose of the English requirement?" "To communicate with the team," she ventured. "Exactly. Not to write perfect poetry or debate complex philosophy. To communicate, to understand instructions, ask questions, share your work. Have you learned how to do that, even simply?" Anya thought about her calls with Ben, her lessons with Mr. Harrison, her comments on the forum. "Yes," she admitted hesitantly. "A little." "And why do you want to volunteer?" he asked. "Because I care about the forests. I want to help. I can translate into Eldorian very well." Her passion flared, momentarily overriding her fear. "Then that is what you need to communicate," Mr. Harrison said firmly. "Your passion, your skills in Eldorian, your willingness to learn and contribute. They are not looking for Shakespeare. They are looking for someone dedicated and able to connect. Your English, Anya, is a tool to show them that. It doesn't need to be a perfect tool yet, just a functional one. Focus on what you can say, not what you can't. Be honest, be enthusiastic, be you." His words resonated deeply. Focus on communication, not perfection. Focus on the message. Anya spent the next week preparing. She wrote her statement of interest, focusing on clear, simple sentences. She asked Ben and Mark teacher to look it over, not for perfect grammar, but for clarity. "Does this make sense?" she asked them. "Can you understand my passion?" They both responded positively, offering minor suggestions, but praising her clear expression of enthusiasm. Then came the email. "Thank you for your application. We would like to schedule a short online interview next Tuesday." The days leading up to the interview were a blur of anxiety and practice. Anya rehearsed answers to possible questions. Why do you want to volunteer? What experience do you have? Tell us about yourself. She practiced saying them aloud, recording herself on her old phone, cringing at the sound, but forcing herself to listen and try again. She focused on speaking clearly, even if slowly. She reminded herself of Mr. Harrison's advice: communicate your passion. Tuesday arrived. Anya sat in front of the library's computer, her hands clammy, her heart pounding like a drum against her ribs. The call connected. Two faces smiled warmly at her from the screen. Maria from Brazil and David from the UK. Hello, Anya. Thank you for joining us, Maria said, her English accented but clear. Hello, Maria. Hello, David, Anya replied, her voice a little shaky but audible. Thank you for opportunity. She knew it should be the opportunity, but she didn't correct herself. Communication first. They asked her questions. Anya listened intently, sometimes asking them to repeat or speak more slowly. Could you please say that again? She answered honestly, using the English she had. She stumbled over words sometimes. Her grammar wasn't perfect. She occasionally paused to search for the right word, but she didn't freeze. She talked about her love for nature, her skills in Eldorian, her deep desire to contribute to the Alliance's work. She focused on conveying her sincerity and enthusiasm. She smiled. She made eye contact with the camera. She used the English she had, imperfectly but bravely. When they asked if she had any questions, she took a deep breath and asked about the specific tasks involved in translation, using sentences she had practiced. The interview lasted about 15 minutes. When it ended, Anya felt drained but also strangely elated. She had done it. She had faced her fear and spoken. It wasn't perfect. Far from it. But she had communicated. She had used her voice. A few days later, an email arrived. Dear Anya, we were very impressed with your enthusiasm and communication skills. We would be delighted to welcome you to our online volunteer team. Anya read the words, then read them again. Tears welled in her eyes. Tears of relief, joy, and disbelief. She had done it. The door had opened, not just to the volunteer program, but to a new version of herself. Anya who wasn't afraid to try. An Anya who could connect across languages. An Anya who spoke English. Her journey wasn't over, of course. Learning a language is a lifelong adventure. There would still be new words to learn, grammar rules to untangle, pronunciation, challenges to overcome. She would still make mistakes, but something fundamental had shifted. The fear, while not entirely gone, no longer held her captive. She understood now that the goal wasn't to speak perfect English. The goal was to connect, to share, to understand, and to be understood. Speaking, even imperfectly, was the key. She continued her lessons with Mr. Harrison, her calls with Ben. She participated actively in the volunteer team's online meetings, initially hesitant, but growing more confident with each interaction. She discovered the joy of understanding a joke told in English, the satisfaction of expressing a complex thought, the warmth of connecting with people from different corners of the world through a shared language. Sometimes, new learners on the language forum would do a post messages similar to her first one. I learn English. It is hard. I am afraid to speak. Anya would always reply, remembering her own journey, "Hello, welcome. Yes, it can be hard, and feeling afraid is normal. I was terrified